Okay, let's continue our coverage of public health, of infectious disease, and the incompetence of this administration in the context of the now possible coronavirus pandemic. Headlines have been floating around that Donald Trump fired the U.S. pandemic response team. This sounds crazy. Why would any president fire the pandemic response team? Is this really true? And the answer is yes, it is. It is true. The Trump administration fired the U.S. pandemic response team in 2018 to cut costs. This started circulating after Judd Legum, who runs the Popular Information newsletter, tweeted, quote, "With the coronavirus killing thousands and threatening to tank the global economy, I feel like more people should be talking about the fact that Trump fired the entire pandemic response team 2 years ago and then didn't replace them." Trump also cut funding for the CDC, forcing the CDC to cancel its efforts to help countries prevent infectious disease threats from becoming epidemics in 39 of 49 countries in 2018. Among the countries abandoned, China. And Judd goes on to say, this isn't just about accountability. It's about drawing attention to the structural problems in the U.S. response effort before things get worse. We are seeing this front and center here in the United States. We are seeing front and center how stuff that is just politics very quickly becomes life and death and much more than mere political posturing and positioning. White House officials tasked with directing national responses to pandemics were fired in the spring of 2018. That's true. And as Snopes points out, Rear Admiral Timothy Ziemer abruptly departed from his post leading the global health security team on the National Security Council in May 2018 amid a reorganization of the council by then National Security Advisor John Bolton. Ziemer's team was disbanded. Tom Bossert, who, as the Washington Post reported, had called for a comprehensive biodefense strategy against pandemics and biological attacks, had been fired 1 month prior. If it weren't tragic life and death, it would be indistinguishable from some kind of weird comedy or satirical skit. But it's all real. It's true that the Trump administration cut the executive branch team responsible for coordinating responses to pandemics. Did he cut CDC funding? Yes, he did. 2018 reports say that funding for the CDC's global disease outbreak prevention efforts were cut by 80%, which includes the CDC's effort in China, the central point, the focus of coronavirus today. When we've been sounding the alarm for 3 years now, saying this man is a danger to the country, that was not a metaphor. That was not hyperbolic. This was simply the sober assessment of the situation. The way to observe this administration is to try to ignore the propaganda videos and look only at what they do, right? The big videos of Trump looking tough and heroic in China or India, rather, or wherever it is that he's traveling to. Don't look at how they present themselves. Watch what they do, and you will very quickly understand the incompetent reality of what is taking place here. We had enough to worry about economically before coronavirus. We had enough to worry about socially, the fabric of politics and discourse in the United States. Geopolitically, we had more than enough to worry about with Donald Trump. We had more than enough to worry about with Donald Trump without a growing outbreak of coronavirus, which medical experts have said Trump's response to so far has been, and I quote, incoherent. Now we also have that to worry about as well. And we have morons running the response. When I say we'll be lucky to get out of this alive, that's literally the case for millions and millions of people if this continues to grow. And we need competent people. This isn't about do we build a wall or not, okay? This is not about Trump claiming that he's building the wall when he's not. We are talking about a life and death situation, potentially for millions of people. And we have arguably the least competent people in charge. Absolutely concerning. You all know that we've been reporting on coronavirus for months. And from the beginning, I said, I am not going to become more alarmist about this than the facts actually suggest. And early on, when you were starting to see very alarmist reporting in some places, we were sober in our assessment of what was going on, contextualizing coronavirus, looking at SARS, looking at influenza, so on and so forth. We are seeing growing numbers that are cause for more concern. But the real red alert now is the incompetence of the people we have in charge and the fact that a lot of the competent people have been fired. Let me know where your head's at, so to speak, on coronavirus. We'll take a quick break and be back with much more right after this.